I'm Molly Carmel, and this is the podcast I always wish existed. A bite sized, on the ground spiritual note that can shift your thinking and your outlook on life to help make us all a little bit more awake, alive, and ascending. Today, I want to talk about something that literally like started as the hugest annoyance to me and then has turned out to be one of my favorite spiritual practices. And it's all about construction equipment and some earplugs and my neighbor's babies. So, Ascenders, there is major construction happening outside of my house right now. I mean, right outside of my house. I mean, jackhammers. I mean, concrete being like thrown and torn up. I mean, flashing lights flooding the street, machinery loud enough that you can feel it in your teeth. I live right next to a really, really major roadway. And so the only time that they can do this construction is at night from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. every single night. This is the symphony. This is the symphony of my home. And there's nothing I can do about it. My first reaction, though, I need to be honest with you because, dirty truth is the love language here at Daily Ascent. My first reaction was the opposite of spiritual. What's the opposite of spiritual? Scarce, mean, terrible, full of fear. I'm telling you, like the sheer loudness of this was startling in a way that made my nervous system just spike every time they started the jackhammer, like the pounding of cement, like, oh my gosh, you guys, wild. And then honestly, that fear turned into something far less flattering than fear. Sort of this, like, how would I say, like entitled indignation. Like, how could they do this to me? Like, don't they know that people are sleeping and people live here? Like, don't they know? Don't they know who I am? Like, it was ugly. And, I guess I knew I had to sleep. And I've had the pleasure of sleeping with a few people in my lifetime that sound like jackhammer. So I had some information as to what to do. So I got my safety kit together real quick. I got the best earplugs, I got the eye mask, the whole situation. And then you know what? This is really true. One night, as I was lying there getting my whole nighttime ritual ready, something really shifted in me. I'm really excited to tell you about it because this is like the truest thing I want to tell you. I live next door to the most lovely people. They are the sweetest family. Young family, two little kids, a little boy who's one, a little girl who's three. She's like my bestie. And I started to think about those two kids and what it must be like for them. Like how confusing and frightening this giant noise in the night must be, like, especially for my little bestie, Elena, the 3-year-old. And, how their parents must be like up with them and teaching them things and like soothing them and explaining something that literally doesn't make sense to a 1-year-old or a 3-year-old. And so it just like my heart softened for them. And then I started to think about the workers, right? These men and women out there in the dark, just like tearing up concrete in the middle of the night and how hard and, in my opinion, just awful that work is. And I started to think about like circadian rhythm and how like every other Instagram influencer's like, first thing in the morning, make sure you get light because that regulates your system. And I was like, these poor people up 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. and how disrupted their sleep must be and how exhausted their bodies must be. And I don't know, and how they're not ripping up my street to make my life difficult. They're just doing it because it's their job and it has to be done. And this is the window it has to be done. And I even understood that of how disruptive if they were doing this during the day it would be. And I'd probably be complaining about it then. Let's be real. Let's be real, friends. And so I just softened my heart and I started sending out love. I swear this is what happened. And I started sending love to Elena, my little 3-year-old best friend neighbor, and the family. And I started sending love out to the workers and just quietly in the dark before I fell asleep. And if I felt like that annoyance start to bubble up, I just was like, you know what? Everyone's out there doing their best, and I'm just going to send them love and send them relaxation. And something really happened to me when that happened. And I want to talk about it. But first, I want to bring in our pocket sage today. And our pocket sage actually isn't a sage. Our pocket sage actually is Buddhism today. And the Buddhists have a practice that's called metta, which is really translated into loving kindness. And metta has been practiced for, oh my gosh, friends, ascenders, like a billion years. Just kidding, like 2000, maybe more. Over cultures and traditions. It's just a way of cultivating genuine warmth and goodwill towards all beings, people you know, people you'll never meet, and even people who are making your life difficult. That's the final level. Even people you hate, they use metta. And at the heart of the practice are 4 simple phrases. I really want you to try this. It's pretty amazing because you can direct them towards yourself, towards the people you love, towards strangers, and towards the people you hate. And it's 4 lines. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. Let me say that again. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. It's a beautiful mantra. I just want to say it and say it and say it, but we got a show to do. But it's really like it just starts to flow off your tongue very easily if you start to practice it. It's a beautiful meditation practice if you don't have one. And honestly, that's the whole practice. Simple pimple, 4 phrases, right? And when I was lying in bed with my earplugs and sending love to the workers and my babies next door, that's exactly what I was doing without remembering it was like metta, without remembering it was metta meditation. And so our word of the day today is metta. And metta is usually translated to loving kindness, but there's a beloved teacher, Sharon Salzberg, and she actually translated more into friendship, the art of developing friendship with ourselves and with the people we know, with the people we'll never know, with the people we hold hate for, you know, and not that I hate these people by any means. I just wanted you to know that. But this worker in the dark that I've never met, the stranger, right? Like Elena next door, the stranger in the car ahead of you, right? The woman who's like fumbling at the cash register in front of you, whatever. This metta is the practice of extending genuine warmth towards all of them. And not because they've earned it, because they're alive and they want to be happy and you want to be happy. And so the practice is really saying that when I hold that about the people around me, when I remember that everyone is doing their best with what they have, that irritation and that closed heartedness becomes compassion, which is magical. And let me tell you something, not immediately, not perfectly. I was rageful about this for like days. Like I was just indignant for days, but eventually it becomes available. And the availability and the softening of the heart and the making friends with something you don't think you can is the practice. So here's what I want you to think about today. The people who are making your life harder are almost certainly not trying to. Well, maybe they're trying to. But even then there's a practice for it, right? And that shift from they're doing this to me to they are just doing this or they are doing their best is really quite liberating. And listen, just back to that other thing. Sometimes people are. Sometimes it is personal and intentional, and the person absolutely knows what they're doing. But even then, even in those cases, the metta practice is not for them, it's for you. Because staying inside the tight, hot room of your own anger costs you much more than it costs them. Sending love doesn't mean what they did was okay. It just means that you're choosing to not be imprisoned by it. And I was also reminded of this other Tibetan Buddhist practice that I do love also called Tonglen. We're just having like a Buddhist 101 session today on Daily Ascent, aren't we? But Tonglen is like this really simple practice, which is breathing in the suffering of others and breathing out relief and sort of taking on someone else's situation, the difficulty of someone else's situation that you relate to. So if you're sitting in a breakup, you sort of breathe in all of the people around you who are also experiencing breakup. And then you offer them ease and exhale, right? And so lying in my bed with these earplugs, sending love to all the workers and the babies. Like I was doing a version of this without even knowing what to call it. I was turning my attention outward instead of staying inside my own annoyance. And I was holding other people's experience alongside my own. And what I found is that literally the moment I did that, the moment I thought about the exhausted workers and the confused little kids, my discomfort was almost gone. And I promise you, it's not because that noise got quieter. It's just because I got bigger. And that's what love does. It expands you. It takes you out of the tight little room of your own irritation and it puts you in a larger space where other people's lives are real and present and matter. And that is true spirituality, right? To think of yourself less. And that larger space makes everything much more manageable. And listen, I go to bed every night and that noise is still there, right? But I'm not alone in it anymore. It's not personal to me. It's very neutral, right? Because I'm connected to the workers and the babies and the whole weird, strange human web of people just trying to get through the night, right? So listen, may you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. I say it for the babies and the workers and myself and you. And every time I do, the night gets quieter on the inside, which is like the only place it really matters. Am I right? So here is your reflective question for the day. What is one situation in your life right now that is frustrating you? And what might shift if you sent love to the people instead of staying inside of your own irritation? Woof. I am right here with you, Ascenders, working on that with my earplugs in, sending love into the dark, and finding practice in the annoyance. And if you're loving what you hear, share the love, like, subscribe, send to your bestie, send to your enemy. I mean, let's get this sender crew large and in charge because we rise together. Until next time.